After Matheus Nunes floated a ball to the back post. They've had other chances as well. They've dominated this game, they've dominated possession, and Forest really have not offered very much at all. At half-time, the Blues just purring with satisfaction, have been clicking through the gears. They lead City 2, Forest 0. Well, let's go back to the studio where Cal is in the company of Rob Earnshaw, Paul Dickov and Stuart Pearce.
Half-time at the Etihad Stadium, and it's Manchester City 2, Nottingham Forest 0. Welcome back to Matchday Live. As you can see, I've got Rob Earnshaw, Stuart Pearce and Paul Dickov in the studio. Stuart, I'm going to come straight to you. Thoughts on those first 45 minutes?
Well, I think we've got to start with my prediction was correct for the first half, 2-0. It was just for the first half, wasn't it? Listen, two fantastic goals from City's point of view. We mentioned before the game that we thought that Forest might lose players at the back, that clever movement, and that's certainly been the case for both goals. But from City's point of view, really clever movement of the ball. Certainly the first one, Walker's run, and then his layback, he just put it beautifully for Foden to finish off. And then the cross and a finish from Haaland. They've done enough to be in front, they've dominated the ball, and probably not created as many chances as the ball domination probably deserved.
Off the ball as well, Paul, it's been very evident. I mean, at times, particularly in that kind of final third of the pitch, you know, like packs of hounds almost on the ball. The work rate and the energy from City's been great in that first.
Yeah, we're saying watching it, they're just relentless in everything that they do. You know, well, know how good they are with the ball, keeping possession, trying to move teams around. But as soon as they lose it, it's not just one or two that go. They go as a team and they try and win it back as high as they can, because they know that if the higher they win the ball up the pitch against teams that are organised the way Forest are, you know, it's going to be easier to break them down. But they've been excellent. Stuart said about the two goals. After that, I don't think they've got out second gear really, because they've not had to. You know, Forest, I've been a bit disappointed with the quality, because they have had opportunities when they've won the ball back to maybe hit City in the counter, and that little bit of quality has just not been there for them.
On Forest, it was, you know, 2-0 and not even 15 minutes have been played. You're kind of fearing the worst at that point, but then they kind of seem to steady themselves a bit. Do you think they'll take, kind of given that fast start, going in at 2-0 at half-time? How would they be feeling in the dressing room, do you think, Rob?
Well, number one, the feeling is, wow, what a level that City are playing in and can hit. I think the thankful thing is it's not more than 2-0. Because it could have been 4 or 5 easily, because City almost didn't get out of that second gear. They created scored the 2 goals, and then you just think, okay, are they going to go on and on? They didn't. Maybe the slowdown of the game, the injury that kind of stopped the game and slowed down, maybe slowed down the rhythm a little bit. But then you see Forest almost have a couple of chances really. Awoniyi had a couple there, he got fouled on the edge, and then the second one, right, 2 or 3 minutes before the half, where it was a really bad run, bad decision, because he should have got a shot away. Mm-hmm. Whatever you do as a forward, you get in that instance, in that moment, you've got to disguise it and then get your shot away before the defender comes back. You cannot let yourself get in that position. And I said about, you might have one or two chances, that is your one. That is your one, and it can change the rhythm of the game. But Forest, okay, but struggling. Like Dickov said, the quality. There's been moments where they've stolen the ball back, and then it's a bad touch, give the ball away, or they get the ball and then make a crazy decision in a long pass that shouldn't happen. And so that's where they are right now. But in the dressing room, they'll be thinking, okay, it is still 2-0. What can we do now? What can change? What's going wrong, and how can we change that?
I think sometimes with Forest as well, you work that hard to win the ball back, that when you win it back, you've got to relax a little bit. You know, you're still in that mode of win the ball back. When you've won the ball back, if that makes sense, yes. You end up rushing it and giving it away. But City do set panic into you by pressing as soon as they lose it as well. But they've got Gibbs White. They've got to use him more when they win the ball back, because he's the one player with that little bit of quality that can go on and create something for you.
With those, kind of, as you say, it's particularly at the end there, I guess that can give them a little bit of hope in the second half. But what have you seen, Stuart, from a Nottingham Forest point of view, that they could maybe be doing a bit better than to help them maybe, get a goal back or two?
Yeah, as the boys mentioned, quality on the turnover. They've just got the balls caught under their feet or not found the killer pass, if you like, or the killer finish. They've had 2 or 3 opportunities where you thought it's one-on-one here. This could be a little bit tricky. They'll be happy that it's 2-0. It could have been worse. I think Steve Cooper will say, give us a little bit more quality in the final third and on turnover, stay in the game, and if it goes 2-1, all of a sudden, you just never know. You know, City have to win the game to keep that momentum that they've got. Forest will say, well, we're pleased it's 2-0, bit more quality on the turnover of possession, and they've shown they've got good pace when they actually do turn it over.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think getting bodies forward as well. So there's a few times where they've won it back and they've got it into a 1-0. But the 9 sort of defenders are still sitting there because they're not supporting them. But I think they're scared that
they've
if they
got
do
a breather.
they're going to
that's when you don't get your breather.
Yes,
when you turn it over, that's when you've got to say, now you've got to work and chase me back if we can.
And that's where the difference is. Sometimes when you're trying to win the ball and you win it back, yes, you've got one player. That's where the fear comes in almost. Is like, oh, do I hit him early? And then you're too far away from Awonyi, because Awonyi is on his own, clearly on his own. But what you do have is you've got to support him. Either you make short passes, or you keep the ball and move it side to side to give time, so you float up and support Awonyi.
And the team can build up together,
because otherwise, as soon as you win it and just keep going, and it's a missed pass and it's a long pass, goes to Edison, it's coming again.
Yeah.
So that's where the fear, they're like, well, okay, well, I won't try that again. I'm going to have to run back again. So right now they're struggling with that. I would love to see them just take 1 or 2 of the opportunities, whether it's from a wide area, whether it's from a central area. The attacks actually for Forest have been through the 2 chances have been Awonyi dribbled through, got fouled on the edge of the box, and then Gibbs White stole the ball, put Awonyi through, straight through the middle. So it's been through the middle, but I'd love to see them just aim, the middle, but also a little bit wider as well.
Yes.
How many crosses are you getting in from the left? How many crosses from the right? And can you keep the ball a little bit just to allow us to get a breather?
Yeah.
You know, like, come on, give us a little breather here. We've been running 48 yards over here every 2-3 seconds. So it's difficult in that way, but I'd love to see more of that.
We talked about Gibbs White being a potential ball carrier for Forest. I've not seen it for 45 minutes. I've not seen him free himself up and get on the ball. I know it's not easy, and then be the conduit that gets his team up the pitch a little bit. Maybe he's got to do that a little bit more regularly.
Two of the goals in that half, Paul. I mean, the first goal is a brilliant start. It is the second most passes in the build-up to a goal, according to Opta in the Premier League, only to be topped by Tottenham. They had 47 passes, 46 passes before that beautiful half volley strike from Phil Foden. It was a beautiful goal and it was quick.
It's ridiculous, isn't it? 46 passes, you think. But you don't see that because you look at the quality of Rodri's diagonal pass, the quality of Kyle Walker's running behind. And then as it's came to Kyle, you know, the touch back to Phil Foden's perfect. It's made Phil's mind up for him to hit it early.
Yes.
And then the finish on the volley, that's difficult to keep that down. It's just, it's top class from top class players. But said you didn't really notice the 46 passes before it because the final couple of passes were that good.
Just exquisite. Yeah. Then the second goal, Stuart, I mean, it was the main man, Erling Haaland, but really great for Núñez, I think, to get that assist. As we said, it's only his second start, but that must feel great for him, and he was really involved in that second goal. Yeah.
Well, I think when you get into those areas, it's easy to hit the first man. He's not done that. He's controlled his body motion, his tempo. He's slowed it down, and he's just lofted the ball up. And I think it was Aurier, he's with Haaland, and at the business end of it, Haaland said, no, you can keep running that way. I'm just going to drop off and nut it in the goal here. And that's what top forwards do. But he made it look easy because the ball was so good, weren't it? It's a forward stream, that sort of ball into the box.
It was brilliant. And we're just talking off air. Why is Haaland so good? Because his movement is world class. It's unbelievable because he knows where to move and when to move. And sometimes when you stood next to him, he'll want you there and then move, and then he scores the goal. And you think, how's he done that?
Yeah.
Because he's intelligent with his move. But the one thing you don't allow him is just to walk onto a header.
Yeah.
And where the two defenders, I think Aurier and Bolly, just run into each other, and he didn't have to make the movement. He just stood on the back post and says, okay, well, you left me, I'll just head it in. So you want Haaland to beat you with unbelievable movement and finishing. That's where you got to leave yourself and say, do you know what? He's world class.
We did all we can.
We did everything that we can. We were brilliant in our defending, but he was just brilliant in his attacking. That's where you want to be, not just allow him to just get a free header back post.
It was as good as it was from City. It was pretty awful from Forest defensively. You know, if you've got, I think Erling was in the box on his own, the only City player in there. One of the defenders has got to think, this is Erling Haaland here. We've at least got to go and pick him up. Whether
it's the most dangerous man in the world right now.
He scored
I must
52
get
goals
close
last
to
season. You know, between 2 or 3 of them, one of them's got to go. Hang on a minute, he's the best striker in the world here. We've got to pick you up. And he's got acres of space just to go and nod it in.
I think they're good when they've got play in front of them for the Forest back line. You know, the ball's there, man's there, not a problem. It's when the ball's gone there and I've got to look at the ball, where's the man gone, or vice versa. That's when, hard to say, but average defenders, world-class ones, know exactly their body shape all the time. If you're not world-class, all of a sudden a world-class striker can make you look an idiot.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we gotta take a moment for Kyle Walker's pass to Foden, by the way,
the first one.
because we talk about that was world class, because for him to see him behind him and lay the ball off, it's unbelievable.
Right.
So good.
That's where I sit at that end. That's my seat, and I'm there watching it from a bird's eye view, and I didn't even clock the Foden pass. I'm thinking he should be going it across the box. The awareness really was.
I thought he was going to take a touch and shoot. It was very similar to the one in his England game.
Exactly. Been good for my fantasy that as well. But we'll take the assist. We've got a question coming on WhatsApp that I wanted to put to you guys. It's around kind of Doku and Grealish. It says, can Doku keep Grealish out of this team if his form continues? Steve from Belfast. I mean, it's a forward, Rob. I mean, he's my uncle called him a menace, and he is just that.
Yeah, and to be fair, he's even more than that. I was lucky enough. I went to Anderlecht a few years ago just to watch Craig Bellamy's under-21s, and Doku was at Anderlecht, and he was 17 at the time, and he was unplayable then. And fast forward, he's here. He's doing the same things now, and I think people are going to realize very, very quickly that this guy, you leave him 1v1, he's going to finish you. He's going to destroy you. So has he got that potential to keep Grealish out? I think he's now slowly starting to give Pep little things that Pep is thinking, wow, okay, he's going up levels here. He's challenging, and that's the best thing.
As a defender, Stuart, when you come across a player like Doku, how do you go about defending against that? Because as you say, one-on-one seems to be a special.
Stop him receiving the ball with feet. So get your body position right. The player on the ball looks up, and you've read the one in behind, so he can't get a run on you. But you send a message out to the man on the ball. Don't play it to his feet, because I'm going to get there at the same time as the ball. That's how you stop him.
Yes.
Once he gets it to feet and runs at you, you've got a big problem with this fella. And what I would say as answer to the question as well, I'll answer on behalf of Pep, if I may. Pep will turn around and say it's not about whether one can be in the team before the other. It's about Manchester City having options for a whole season.
Yes.
And that's all he's concerned about, to be honest with you. They'll let these two players, top quality players, fight it out to see who starts. And certain players will play certain games. I spoke with Dickie and I said about Kyle Walker not playing in the Champions League. And Dickie said to me, it wasn't a game for him to play. They had no pace up front. And there's going to be certain games where Doku plays or Grealish plays, depending on the opposition.
Yeah,
just on Doku, and I mean, I know a certain fullback that would have dealt with him all right, and it wouldn't have been very nice. But I don't know if you can get away with that.
Those days are gone, my friend. You know what I mean? For any fullback.
As good as Doku's been, let's not forget Jack, for me, was consistently after the World Cup our best player.
Yes.
From when we came back in January to the Champions League final, with and without the ball. And Jack will be sitting there now, and it'll raise Jack's game.
Yes.
Because that position on the left hasn't really, it's not really been threatened the back end of last season or the second half of the season. Now Jack will be sitting there and thinking, tell you what, when I get my chance, this kid's good, and he's very good, and he could be keeping me out. So when I get in there, I'm going to have to do better than what I've done.
And that's when
that's the competition for places that Stuart's talking about.
That's it. I was reading as well, actually, I think in that big month we had where we had, Munich, potentially Madrid, United. Jack Grealish was the only player that played all of those 8 games in those months. He was key. Right, gents, there we go. Players are making their way out the tunnel, so it's enough from us here in the studio. We're back at full time. I'm going to hand back over now to Alistair Mann, who's with Sean Gorer and got full commentary on the Manchester City app. Come on, City.
Welcome back to the second half of City against Nottingham Forest. The first half statistics: 77% possession, 6 attempts, 4 on target, which is interesting really, because last week they had something like 4 times that many